Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I have a video for you. This is my first time filming a video, so forgive me if I'm kind of awkward and not very well structured in the way I'm talking. For those of you who know me, a lot of people know about me that I've been wanting to make a YouTube channel and talk about some stuff that I find important for so long, literally so long. And what is a better time than a time where all you can do is be inside as much as possible? And yeah, I really don't have an excuse anymore why I should not do this. I feel like right now the topics that I wanted to talk about in the first place, which are largely mental health related, are so relevant. So I'm just gonna go dive in, and I hope it helps. I hope yeah, you take something away from it. I want to do a quick disclaimer saying I'm not a mental health professional, nor have I been trained in any of these topics that I'm going to be speaking on. I'm just someone with a lot of experience struggling with my own mental health, and I've seen quite a lot of the system and know a lot of people struggling with it. So it's purely from personal experience and just as a person who has a lot of opinions on things. So yes, I'm going to mention the coronavirus again. I know you're tired of it, but I'm not gonna dive into the specifics of the virus or whatever you should be doing about it, because I am not in that position to spread any information at all about it. I'm just here to address the mental health repercussions of this entire situation, which of course depends on where you live. But I'm gonna assume for the sake of this video that wherever you live there will be some degree of social distancing advised and social isolation required, which can be incredibly hard for a lot of people, not just those who are already familiar with mental health, but for anyone in a society like ours that's so largely based on just keep working no matter what, make profit no matter what. If you're sick, you're going to work anyways. And now we're all like being forced to stop and stay home and face whatever it is that we never had the time to face. And for me, it meant that a lot of the quite healthy habits that I built in trying to get out of my depression are not possible anymore. So it is forcing me to be really creative. Yeah, when you're depressed and you're making a habit out of going outside every day, which is hard for most people with depression, and you're kind of re-entering that social life, I'll be honest with you, it was kind of like a slap in the face. That's why at first I was pretty naive about the severity of the coronavirus, because it felt so threatening to my mental health to even consider the severity of what it can do to your physical health. Because it's like you, in my position, and I think a lot of others who have been in whatever way trying to maintain, like working very hard to keep your mental health in check, and something like this comes along, there's no one to blame. There's nothing you can do in this moment right now to fix it or make it go away, and you become so powerless, which you're not, I'll get to that, but it can just be really frightening to even acknowledge the severity of the situation. So that's what I did in the first place, and right now, as we're like, I don't know, 10 days into like social distancing where I'm from. I'm not in lockdown, but I am home and alone for a lot of the time. Yeah, it's been hard. It's been incredibly hard. I've gotten kind of used to this new rhythm a little bit. I have forced myself to get up on time, make breakfast, Yeah, but I'm not going to talk you through my entire routine of day. What I want to talk about specifically, as someone who suffers from depersonalization derealization disorder, which is a dissociative disorder. I also don't think I have time to go into the specifics, but really briefly, for those of you who are not familiar with dissociation, it is basically like a phenomenon in your brain that goes hand in hand with anxiety, where whatever it is, something that is overwhelming to you, and strikes a lot of fear, kind of causes this really primal response of your body and your mind, where it will just do whatever it has to do to protect you. And I think the greatest metaphor, or I don't even know if it's a metaphor or it's just like reality, that I've heard to explain this is, imagine in the animal kingdom, the function that fear has, the function that a lot of other emotions have, that's like, the function of fear, I feel like, is very well known, of course. It boosts your heart rate, allows you to run away, like pumps blood to your muscles so that you can run or fight. But when there's no use anymore in fighting or flighting, all you really can do is freeze. And dissociating is kind of, in a way, that last resort of, you've been either like crossing your own boundaries way too much, or having other people cross your boundaries, taking way too much on your plate. And even more common is, it's just like a trauma response. It's something that happens when you experience trauma, almost to everyone. You've probably heard like someone in a car accident recalling their experience, saying they kind of like felt out of body in the experience itself, trying to remember it. They remember it vaguely, like there's a cloud or like a fog resting over it all. And that is dissociation, and it's there to protect you when, as I was saying, in the animal kingdom, you're a deer running away from, I don't know, a lion. Doesn't make sense. Whatever. The moment the lion catches you, fear isn't of any use anymore. Blood pumping through your veins, to your muscles, to your senses, heightening your senses, is actually kind of the last thing you want when you're dying and having pain and being torn apart by a fucking lion. Like, the last thing you want is to be hyper aware and alert of it. So your brain goes to the opposite. And that is, in short, kind of what dissociation is like. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that they've been experiencing a lot of dissociation. Some of those people were familiar with it beforehand, before all of this started happening, and others weren't. And I myself struggled with it as well. And here's what I have to say about it. I've been... okay, wait. So I've been like fighting my dissociative disorder for a couple of years now, which is something I shouldn't be doing in the first place. Fighting dissociation is literally the most pointless thing you can do. It all starts with acceptance, but still, I still find myself doing it. It's like frustrating when you're trying to focus on something and your mind keeps like shutting you out of reality, and you feel weird and you feel vague and far away, and you're trying to talk to people, connect to people, which is already like 1 billion times harder because it all has to be done virtually, digitally, and yeah. Plus, the entire world feels like a movie. So it doesn't really feel like reality anyways. It can be so scary to feel so out of touch with yourself and reality. Now, if you relate to this, here's my piece of advice. Lean into it. Just lean into it. It's might be the opposite of what your instinct is telling you to do. Your instinct might be telling you, like, this is wrong, this feels weird, it feels off. I feel so foggy, my brain, I can't think straight, I cannot focus. I can't really connect to anything. Time, my entire perception of time is like fucked up, and I cannot even tell which day it is. And talking to people is hard because I just cannot keep my mind in the conversation. Lean into it, it's there for a reason. And a lot of times when we respond out of trauma, it's because we're triggered in the present moment and our brain is trying to protect us, but we unlearn that because we realize that our brain is overprotecting us. So that's where, like, when you have a really negative effect of dissociating so much that you cannot function, that's when it's useful to be mindful of your dissociation and try to work through it with preferably with a professional, to see how you can, like, combat it and prevent it from happening as much, and see where you have to draw certain boundaries to prevent dissociating in the first place. With this, I just feel like it is a legitimate response. It is not overreacting. It is not our brain making a mistake or being triggered by something that lets us spiral into this weird dreamlike world when it's not necessary. It is necessary right now. There is a real threat. And I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm just saying that to ease your mind when it comes to dissociation. It is okay to dissociate right now. It is okay to feel weird and foggy, and, like, even though school and work goes on online and you're expected to be at the fucking online meeting and hand in the deadline anyway. Speaking from experience, I have an exam tomorrow and I don't even know, I'm kind of pissed off about it. I'm like, how do you expect me to do that right now? I am dissociating so much, and I want people to understand this more. And I know that so many people that maybe don't even know the term dissociation are experiencing this right now, and they don't really know how to describe it, they don't really know how to talk about it, and so they just ignore it and go on with their days, and feeling like bummed out about it, or maybe frustrated, or maybe even scared of it, or whatever other response you can think of. And with this video, I just want to bring some awareness to it, that if this is something you are experiencing, it is okay. It is completely understandable, and lean into it as much as you can. Of course, not to the point where you start freaking out about it, anything. Like, again, anything I say in this video is just my own personal experience, so if it doesn't work for you and it might trigger something worse, then by all means don't. I just feel like that's so necessary for the world to hear right now, for a lot of people to hear, that these are weird times, these are scary times, and there is real danger out there that we should be legitimately concerned about. So I want to thank my brain for protecting me. That's one of the things anyway that's helped me so much in my recovery. That's I can share with you right now, is don't treat your brain as if it's your enemy. Even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it's cooperating or acting in your best interest, and you're like, why do I keep thinking? Why do I keep ruminating? Why can't I focus? My brain is not allowing me to make this really important exam or stay focused in this really important meeting. Your brain is never not acting in your best interest. Unless you have, like, a brain disease or something, maybe. But your mind, I guess. No, your brain, I don't know. It you have to understand that it's never, doing something to hurt you intentionally. I know it sounds weird, like your mind is a separate person or your brain is a separate person, but that's kind of how I've come to see it. Where when, for example, you have a panic disorder or an anxiety disorder, and it might feel like your brain is fucking you over big time, because why do I keep having these panic attacks and being triggered by everything? It starts to feel like your brain is your enemy, but really it comes down to an overreaction to something because it wants to keep you away from that traumatic experience you've had in the past by reacting so heavily. Okay, I'm going to stop rambling on right now. My main message is dissociating is okay. If you have any questions about it, I am of course open to answering it, as long as you keep in mind that I'm not a professional. There's enough to find about dissociation online. Do your own research and just stay safe and stay patient with yourself in this time. You don't have to be perfect. Your brain doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to get by, and it's okay to just not be fully present and there and alert and active all of the time. It's really hard to be home, to be restricted, to be scared, and to be under these, restrictions or whatever. Sorry, I'm dissociating as I'm speaking, so that's my sign that I need to cut this video off. Thank you all so much for your attention, and I'll see you in the next video, whenever that is. Bye. Oh.